Resident Evil 4 is back, and with it comes a ton of cool little details, Easter eggs and nods to the past. From secret death scenes to a slick dancing reload animation, here are 23 brilliant little details we saw in Resident Evil 4.
Over here, stranger.
Leon returns to the village for a fresh 2023 Ganado onslaught, but this time there's some more tools in his arsenal. Unleash the cow.
Bill me for the repairs later.
Anything from a flaming torch to just a gentle tap on the bum can set them off, but once they're roaming, they'll cause a heavy amount of damage to anything in their path, including the brute, who, on this occasion, they seem to target specifically. I guess that's what you get when you wear their dead mate's face on your head. Just like the original, but still firmly in the "this is weird enough to mention" column, is the Spanish crow's habit for carrying pesetas. Where are they storing this money? Don't ask. Just simply pop them with a shot and then cash in. Or chuck a grenade in to mass murder a murder of crows. If you're anything like me, or this dog, more on him later, you'll be sick to death of repeatedly getting caught in bear traps. But, unlike the original, you can now use them to your advantage. Simply bait in an enemy, and then watch them squirm in pain after they're hoisted by their own petard.
Out of the way.
The village lake contains a big nasty in the form of Del Lago, a giant, plaga-infected fish that needs to be speared to death. Just like the original though, there's actually an alternative way of dying to the Del Lago before you've even encountered him. Simply pop a few rounds in the lake before getting on the boat, and then watch the monstrosity swallow you whole. Despite the remake's early bait and switch, the dog that Leon saves, and he affectionately calls that dog, makes a triumphant return, and just like the original, impacts how your battle with the El Gigante goes. Ignore the dog and he'll never be seen again, but save the pup and he'll once again arrive in the nick of time to help you take down the big boy with a pivotal distraction.
That dog.
Also, in the name of research, I had to test this. Look, he was fine, alright? Calm down. After Leon and the dog take down El Gigante, be sure to revisit his paddock to find his rearing notes, containing some heartwarming stories about him teething, devouring whole cows, and putting a sleepy spell on a 17-month-old toddler. Okay, this is weird. 18 years later, it's still as strange as ever that Leon believes that a ton of infected villagers have decided to go play bingo once a bell rings. But that's just the canon, alright? We have to live with it. Unfortunately though, one of the hapless Ganados gets left behind if you don't activate his wardrobe jump scare during the fight. Poor guy, ditched by his friends, and instead of shouting out some bingo lingo, he took a shot to his legs 11. Everyone's favourite Merchant of Death is back in 2023, but this time he's got a handy extra skill up his trench coat. When you're about to leave an area for good, the Merchant will now organically warn that you
might want to take care of any leftover errands before going this way. Be ashamed to live the rest of your life wondering, what if? Am I right?
The Resident Evil series has a long history of letting you discard key items, whether that be once you've used it or from the menu. But Resident Evil 4 now goes one better and lets you turn the items over to the cash-rich merchant for some lovely pesetas. Once your key item has the tick, you're free to flog it.
Pleasure doing business with you.
Another relic of the past is also handled smoothly in the Resident Evil 4 remake, with the literal storage management now taking place via a typewriter and being able to submit weapons to your storage from your attaché case anytime you please. Once you enter the shooting gallery and start the proceedings, the eagle-eared amongst you might recognise a familiar tune. This is the same music that's used in the original opening. You know, whilst Leon is awkwardly asking the nonchalant police if they expected to sing Kumbaya together.
Sure you boys didn't just tag along so we could sing Kumbaya together at some Boy Scout bonfire. Then again, maybe you did.
The original release of Resident Evil 4, much like the entire series, contains its fair share of bad, but equal parts awesome dialogue, and unfortunately, some of these stone cold classics just didn't make the cut.
I've sent my right hand to dispose of you.
Your right hand comes off?
They are, however, kept alive by the trophy descriptions, referencing everything from Big Cheese,
The big cheese.
to Leon's iconic Salazar shutdown.
No thanks, bro.
Another bizarre element that didn't make the transition 18 years later was that little narcissist Salazar's weird giant mechanical statue of himself. Well, there is our version, but it's not nearly as mobile and pursuing. The original vision, however, lives on in the form of the game's collectible. He may have lost an 80-foot statue, but in the remake, Salazar still has his throne. A throne which Leon can pose in, exactly like he did in Sadler's Throne in the 2005 original. After your time for resting is over, be sure to swing by the portrait of Salazar to leave your final message for the little Tory in the form of an egg on his face. Also, while you're there, chuck one at his mom too, why not? I don't know about you, but during the heat of the battle is not when I choose to announce I had a medical condition.
You got worms too?
Well done, Leon, on your spectacular cell phone. In the original village chief's house, you could find a villager hanging out in the bathroom next to a urinal. The implication is clear, but in the remake though, the Ganado has some more serious business to attend to. This is the face of a man who was caught on the job. Leon has always had a penchant for jumping on huge, surprisingly supportive chandeliers, but in 2023, Ashley finally calls him out for this irresponsible behaviour.
Leon, are you kidding me? Jumping across chandeliers, seriously, who does that?
Chandelier swinging is not the only thing she's calling out in the remake. Unlike the original, Ashley now has a perfectly reasonable response to Leon asking her to hide in a locker.
What?
One thing I can't support the president's daughter in though is her attempt at gimmick infringement.
I'm pretty much a master of unlocking.
Jill, here's a lockpick. It might be handy if you, the master of unlocking, take it with you.
A man who can't be imitated is Robert Kendo, the gun shop proprietor last seen in Resident Evil 3. Although he's nowhere to be seen in Resident Evil 4, for obvious reasons, Leon's SG-09R handgun has the word Kendo engraved on it, calling back to the weapon maker Joseph Kendo, the brother of the shop owner that Leon met in Resident Evil 2. Another weapon making its return for the remake is the Chicago Sweeper, formerly known as the Chicago Typewriter. It can only be obtained by completing the game on Professional with an A rank, but once you have it, be sure to pair it with a pinstripe suit, and just like the original, you can now trigger this unique, and dare I say it, sexy reload animation. And finally, separate ways, the Ada Wong unlockable side scenario added to the PS2 version is nowhere to be found in the remake. But I think we can all safely agree it's coming, especially after this line.
I think we both know this. It's where we go our separate ways.
That's 23 brilliant little details we spotted in Resident Evil 4, but there's tons more Easter eggs and references to find. Let us know what you found in the comments, and for everything else Resident Evil 4, stick with IGN.